Is a political investigative reporter at the Washington Examiner. And thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time on this holiday weekend. We really appreciate you being here and giving us your thoughts and insight as the continuing untangling of this goes on. The Republican chairs of the House Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committee, they want to interview U.S. Attorney David Weiss and the other investigators behind closed doors to start, I guess you could say. And Weiss does seem to have expressed some willingness to do so. However, there does not appear to be a date set, and certainly not before the July 26th hearing when the judge is slated to take a look at this Hunter Biden plea agreement for approval. Weiss said in this letter to Jordan on Friday, "At the appropriate time, I welcome the opportunity to discuss these topics with the committee in more detail and answer questions related to the whistleblower's allegations consistent with the law and department policy." I just want to get your thoughts on the timeline of when the Republicans in Congress might actually be able to speak with Weiss, potentially other investigators as well.
Yeah, there's a lot to work out there, right? I mean, in the statement that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware put out when the plea agreement with Hunter Biden was struck, there was a line in which Weiss acknowledged that the investigation is ongoing. And in his letter on Friday, what I thought was really so interesting is that you didn't really hear an explicit denial of the specific allegation that other U.S. attorneys had potentially blocked Weiss's charging ability in districts outside Delaware. He pushed back on the overall idea that there'd been significant political meddling from Maine justice, but he did not deny this most specific and most damning allegation made by that IRS whistleblower that two different Biden-appointed U.S. attorneys, one in California and one in Washington, D.C., prevented him from moving forward on charges that investigators thought was warranted. Now, if that investigation is ongoing and if Weiss is leaving open the possibility that he could request that special counsel status to move those charges forward, then I think Republicans in Congress might have to wait to talk to him because an ongoing criminal investigation might prevent him from speaking with members of Congress. But certainly I think this story is far from over.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts, kind of from the side of Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's attorney has accused the House Republicans of attempting to interfere, essentially, in this Biden plea deal, of trying to improperly undermine the judicial proceedings, of making false allegations via, as he puts it rather derisively, self-styled IRS whistleblowers. Your thoughts on just the view from Hunter Biden's lawyers?
Well, Hunter Biden's lawyers obviously have an interest in portraying the issue is settled, right? They have tried to portray the plea deal as the last word in Hunter Biden's legal woes and that he's now taken responsibility, so to speak, for all of his misdeeds and the public should move on. That's not what Weiss has said. That's not what the Justice Department has said, that this is the last word in the consequences that Hunter Biden might face. And from the Republicans' perspective, you know, they've never really been interested in the alleged tax evasion, something that Hunter Biden pleaded guilty to, or actually a watered-down charge related to that. They've never really been interested in the gun form that he may have filled out improperly. They have always said their interest has to do with potential illegal foreign lobbying and alleged influence peddling. All of the millions of dollars that the Biden family earned while Joe Biden was vice president, and then what efforts the Justice Department took to look into those pretty solid allegations. So there's not been a lot of meddling in the exact case that Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty to because Republicans have never really been interested in that. They always had bigger fish to fry, so to speak.
Well, Sarah, on that point, John Ratcliffe, the former director of national intelligence, he spoke with Jason Chaffetz this morning on Sunday Morning Futures. Take a listen.
We end up with this circumstance where the president's son has ended up with a deal that perhaps nobody else in the history of the Department of Justice has received when it comes to the type of conduct associated with tax crimes and gun crimes. And so these are questions that the American people want answers to. And unfortunately, our Department of Justice and FBI aren't giving clear answers on that. And it's up to House Republicans, unfortunately, to now prosecute the cases that the FBI and the DOJ clearly are not.
Yeah. So the big question there is, how effective do you think that these House Republicans will be in getting answers to these types of questions?
Well, so far, I think they've actually been surprisingly effective. I mean, think about how long we've been talking about Hunter Biden's alleged misconduct with regards to, trading on his family name overseas and raking in millions of dollars. This has been part of the conversation for at least 3 years now, and even a little bit before the laptop emerged during the 2020 election. But just in the past few months, we've had the closest thing to concrete evidence of these allegations. We've had whistleblowers come forward. There's been FBI documents, the 1023 form from the FBI containing a pretty fleshed out allegation of an alleged bribery scheme. So House Republicans have been able to uncover more evidence just in the past few months than we've had the entire time this has been part of the public sphere. The problem is anyone going to care? And if the Justice Department is not going to do its job and investigate this, all there will really be a sort of a case in the court of public opinion, potentially never in a court of law.
Yeah, that is a great point. Sarah Bedford, will this all be viewed sort of as like a post-mortem, and what will it really come down to in the end? Sarah Bedford with the Washington Examiner, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful 4th of July.
You too.